The man took a tennis ball out of his pocket and threw it with all his might. The simple pet dog thought that the owner was teasing him and ran over to pick it up excitedly. Unexpectedly, the owner started the car and smoked. Disappearing from sight, the dog instinctively chases behind. He accidentally hit a stone and fell hard, but despite the pain, he got up and continued to chase. It's a pity that he still can't catch up, and he comforts himself. The host was in a hurry to leave for a while and would be back soon. So he went back to where he came from and waited stupidly, but he waited until nightfall. When it rains heavily, the master does not come to pick him up, and the master may be delayed by something again. The next day, several stray dogs emerged from the bushes. Rudely, they pushed down the dog food left by the man and devoured it with relish. It's been a long time since they've tasted such delicious technology. When the stray dog asked, he learned that the pet dog's name was Jacob, and the boss of the stray dog was Alex. Alex convinces Jacob, "Stop being stupid and you've been abandoned by humans." Even if you wait until you get old, Jacob still doesn't want to accept this cruel truth. Then he heard a car coming, he thought it was the owner, and went to see him with a tennis ball in his mouth. Unexpectedly, it was another abandoned puppy, and now Jacob has reason to believe that he has become an outcast. I have to join the big family of wanderers, and becoming a wanderer is not only often hungry. They also had to face poachers before they entered a ruin. He met the dog thief, Jacob, who was a newcomer, and soon came into the hunter's field of vision. He struggled to flee in front, and the motorcycle chased frantically behind. Just as he was about to be arrested, a schnauzer flew in time to pounce on the poachers. Later, led by his companions, they came to their secret base. Some of them hid in the toilet, some in the washing machine. Some of them came out of their water boots, which showed that they had been on the battlefield for a long time. Although the stray dogs here come from different breeds, they share the same hardships and blessings. Jacob also ate his first bite of food since wandering, and the next day they traveled together to forage for food. I walked through the alley to the door of a shop, and the man here was very kind. Giving them food each time, Alex also teaches Jacob how to show favor to humans. They were munching on their food together when Jacob suddenly heard the familiar sound of a car. Coupled with the same body color, he mistakenly thought it was his master. So he slipped into the restaurant to look for it, but not only did he not find the owner, but also caused many customers to be dissatisfied. The hostess had no choice but to drive them away, and from then on they never received a gift from the family. As soon as he returned to the base, the seriously ill cocker died, and everyone shed tears of sadness. They have expressed injustice, should they be abandoned by humans because they are sick? It's supposed to be humans who are sick, and Jacob finally sees the reality clearly. He came to the river and threw the tennis ball he had kept into the river. He decided to pick himself up and get back to life when he heard the sound of a chase coming from the mountains. When I got closer, I realized that it was a few wild dogs hunting a wild boar. When the wild dog saw that he was standing stupidly and was about to be hit by a wild boar, a female wild dog immediately rushed over to save Jacob. He was also injured and left bloodstains, and the wild dog's hunting plan was disrupted. The boar also ran away, and Jacob, with guilt in his heart, returned to the group to find something to eat. He saw several ants hunting a green worm, and instantly thought of the wild dog family hunting wild boars. The brown wild dog was vivid, and it seemed that he liked each other when they first met. He returned to the base with a bone and prepared to go up the mountain to visit the female dog and come to the human enclosure. Just seen by a small wild dog, the little guy is not afraid of Jacob at all. Through him, Jacob learns that the brown-haired dingo is named Kelly. I used to be a family dog, but I went up the mountain to live with them. After the dog left, Jacob went up the hill. Sniffing the scent, they quickly found their base, and also saw each other's happy family. It so happened that the leader of the wild dogs also returned. The leader tells him to leave quickly, but Jacob plans to stay here, and his beloved Kelly reminds him that you are from the city, and that you are often picking up people's teeth, and you probably can't even catch a mouse. How to survive in this mountain forest? He kicked the bones he brought with a kick. Jacob, in order to prove that he can catch prey, goes to a human yard. No sooner had he jumped into it than the sheep panicked and smashed open the fence and scattered. The owner of the sheep could only watch that there was nothing he could do, and Jacob took the opportunity to drive the 3 sheep into the mountains. Kelly should accept him now, and when she saw the dingo family, the puppy couldn't believe it. Jacob was secretly happy when a pet dog brought so much food. But the leader was mad because he didn't bring food. It's a disaster, the loss of domestic animals, and humans will not rest on their laurels. Jacob wakes up from a dream and tries to return the 3 sheep to humanity. But it's too late, and humanity is already planning revenge. Whatever the wild dogs and stray dogs will pay, and sure enough, those poachers were quickly gathered. As Jacob descended the mountain, Kelly came to him and told him that you had to prove yourself. You should hunt instead of steal the fruits of humans, now because of you. We have to get out of here, and Jacob feels guilty to himself. Just then, he heard the footsteps of poachers. Looking back, the humans had already aimed their guns at Kelly. Jacob quickly rushes out and knocks Kelly away, but the tranquilizer gun just shoots at the puppy. Kelly turned her head and saw that the human was the same person who had abused her in the first place, and a sense of fear arose, and before she could react, the poacher's second shot had already been fired. Jacob jumped again to save her, but he was hit by a tranquilizer gun, and under the effect of anesthesia, he did not hold himself from falling asleep. Jacob, who was captured, was fitted with a subcutaneous locator by humans. They planned to follow the location and catch all the dogs. They were then put in a filthy cage, and Kelly and the others quickly made their way down the hill with their scent. Taking advantage of the poacher's absence, they not only saved the puppy and Jacob. Other stray dogs that had been imprisoned for a long time were also rescued when the poachers arrived. The cage was empty, and he wanted to arrest him again. Jacob struck quickly and flew him out, the falling bricks holding him immobile. No. Jacob follows Kelly into the mountains, and the leader finally allows him to follow the group. This mountain forest can no longer stay, but where to go has become a thorny question. Because humans are everywhere, Jacob says his friends know a place. There are boundless mountains and forests that are very suitable for dogs, and it just so happens that they are suitable for dogs. The stray dogs colony was destroyed, and the human demolition team razed the ruins to the ground in a few clicks. They managed to escape, standing on a high place looking at the stronghold and sighing. At this moment, Jacob appeared behind them. Like a ray of hope, just like that, the 2 teams of people who lost their homes at the same time walked together. After deliberation, everyone will march towards the ideal forest. They protect each other along the way, through the wind and rain, and Jacob also keeps getting close to Kelly in the process. They also gradually built up a relationship with each other, and after walking for an unknown time, they came to a highway intersection. It was necessary to pass between the speeding cars, and the humans did not actively avoid them, so they had to forcibly stop the cars. However, the accident still happened, and when the puppy tried to stop the car, the driver rushed over without paying attention. At the moment of danger, the mother stepped forward to save the child at the same time. The mother was also wounded, and the chief entrusted the child to Jacob. But he supported his mother to get up with difficulty, and stayed by her side to protect her. Many human drivers were moved by this and took out their mobile phones to shoot this touching scene. But they didn't get away with it, a driver who drove and called. Not paying attention to the situation here, the driver crashed into them just as they were about to reach the side of the road. The leader and his wife died in front of everyone, and they seemed to turn into meteors in the sky. The saddest thing is the puppy, after all, it is the biological parents. As soon as he arrived at night, he began to dream, in which he promised his parents that he was a big child. When I woke up and began to fall into grief again, it was comforting to hug Kelly into my arms. I miss my mom and dad so much. Mom. Daddy. I can't smell them anymore. But survival must go on, and everyone hasn't eaten for 2 days. Seeing a deer appear nearby, Kelly begins to teach everyone how to hunt together. After everything was arranged, everyone began to take action. Some were responsible for leashing, some were responsible for interception, and some were responsible for pinching, and with concerted efforts, they finally hunted for food. Everyone ate in a big gulp, especially these stray dogs, who were eating live hunted animals for the first time. Not to mention how satisfied they were. After eating, everyone was still lying in the grass. The aftertaste lingered, and the relationship between Kelly and Jacob deepened. They were running and jumping in the sunset, as if they were the only ones in the world. However, the ease of life soon came to a crisis when Jacob was caught and a locator was installed by humans. The poachers had already tracked their location, and they couldn't get rid of each other anyway. Everyone decides to fight the humans, and the first thing to deal with is the opponent's hounds. They are quick to move, but simple-minded, and Jacob decides to divide them. Then each one was broken, and with the basis of the cooperation of the last hunt, the hound was really quickly fooled. 1, 2, 3, the hounds were dealt with one by one, but their whereabouts were also discovered by poachers. The other party was annoyed and fired at the reeds, and the sparks of the guns quickly ignited the reeds. The fire quickly ignited, and the poachers retreated. But how will Jacob deal with it? The slightest accident will bury the sea of fire. Jacob, who is both wise and brave, jumped out with the help of a stone. He remembered seeing an iron bucket just now, and he fetched it and let his smaller companions enter. The others pushed the buckets forward, and sure enough, they broke out of the flames. Falling into a pond among the reeds, everyone was temporarily saved. After this battle, the poacher became even more excited, and he locked on Jacob's track again from the monitor. Jacob, they will also face another crisis after leaving the wetlands. They continued to look for a new habitat, and they came to a beautiful yard. There are also several domestic dogs here, and everyone is tired too. I was going to take a break here for a while when the dog owner appeared. Welcoming their arrival, everyone also saw the kindness of their owners from several domestic pets. The dog owner not only helped them with their wounds, but also treated them with great hospitality. At night, the dog owner lit a bonfire in the yard. Sitting around with their pets and playing softly, Jacob and the others felt the warmth of the world. Perhaps the kindness of the male and female owners is too obvious, and many wild animals have also come to the party. There was no hostility or exclusion at the scene. It was a wonderful event. But for some reason, Kelly saw Jacob running up the mountain. When she chased after her, she saw blood stains on the back of her lover's neck. It turned out that Jacob had already sensed something strange on the back of his neck, and he was going to leave the team to help everyone get out of danger. Let's walk, Jacob, together. I really want to stay with you, Dot. But Dot. I'm sorry, Dot. No way. I won't leave you. Never. The best love is that you have your stubbornness, and I have my life and death. In the middle of the night, the poachers arrived, and Jacob clearly sensed that they were approaching. So he planned to lead the other party away alone, and he ran to the other side of the mountain forest. The poacher saw it and turned around in pursuit, in front of the speed of the vehicle. Jacob was soon overtaken, but Jacob took advantage of the poacher's eagerness. With the help of obstacles, he evaded the pursuit, and the opponent's vehicle also overturned. But the hateful poacher did not die, and he took out his shotgun and pursued Jacob again. In the process of escaping, Jacob accidentally gets caught in a trap. The poachers intend to use him to lure Kelly into appearing and then kill two birds with one stone. Kelly was also fearless in order to save the other party, and she ran straight towards the muzzle of the gun. Jacob didn't want her to be harmed, so he used all his strength to break the branches and pounce on the poachers. Kelly took the opportunity to pin the poacher under her, and she could have bitten the man's throat in one bite. But she relented. The other party could be a butcher, but she wasn't. The man retreated as he begged for mercy, and accidentally fell off the cliff, and he walked down the mountain. Below is the more dangerous area infested by wild bears, who will presumably become the prey of wild bears. Jacob and the others returned to the courtyard of the young couple, and the woman helped them untie the ropes. The wound was bandaged for the animal. How lucky it is to meet good human beings at the time of parting. Alex decided to stay, not only because of the kind couple, but more importantly because he met a spouse. Everyone respected his choice, wished him an early birth to a noble dog, and another journey. Jacob and the others finally arrived at the place of their dreams, looking into the distance, with mountains and green forests as far as they could see. Here, they will start a new trajectory in life. But there were 2 border nets in between, and the moment the border guards opened the door, everyone rushed towards the last journey. The soldier reacted at the same time. Everyone had mostly passed, except for Jacob, who was caring for the puppy, who was stranded, and the soldiers tried to catch him. In the midst of the scramble, the soldier dropped the grenade, and Jacob took it in his mouth. The soldiers did not dare to be ruthless for safety reasons, which also left Jacob with an opportunity to run along the barbed net. Hopefully the hole can be found, but the border line stretches for hundreds of miles. Almost impossible to find the entrance, he took advantage of the ramp to jump, but the iron net was too high and failed. His companion reminded him to look at the platform behind him, and he immediately entered it, jumping to the top of the platform with the soldier as a cushion. Then accelerate a leap and drop in the addition of a blow in the mouth. With the help of Shockwave, he finally managed to jump over the border fence, and Kelly stepped forward to catch him. Kissed her brave lover deeply, and this was her wish. The affectionate dog will eventually become a family, and a new life in the future can be expected. They will end up living happily ever after in this desolate place.